Walked by Splash Mountain at Disneyland and saw these people getting evacuated at the top. Okay, but what is he doing with his arms up there?
That's not a water ride malfunction. That's a symptom. On January 7th, 2026, a log flume vehicle on Tiana's Bayou adventure at Disneyland began taking on water during regular park hours. Guests were evacuated onto platforms. The flume was drained. The ride was shut for the remainder of the day. No injuries were reported. Disneyland Resort issued no official statement. Not that day, not after. And Disneyland said nothing. The silence is the policy. $224. That is the peak single-day ticket price at Disneyland. Effective October 8th, 2025, that is what you paid to walk through that gate on the day the boat sank. And here's where it gets worse. The man who built this attraction, Josh D'Amaro, chairman of Disney Experiences, was announced as the next chief executive officer of the Walt Disney Company on February 3rd, 2026, effective March 18th. His division generated $36 billion in revenue in fiscal 2025, Disney's largest business segment. The sinking is not the beginning of this story. It is the latest chapter. Since Tiana's Bayou adventure opened at Disneyland in November 2024, the attraction has experienced repeated emergency stops, animatronic failures, a full flume drain in September 2025, guests trapped at the top of the 52-foot drop, and now a vehicle taking on water with passengers aboard. This is not a new problem. This is a pattern. And here's what it cost you to be inside it. $224 is not the price of a theme park ticket. It is the price of a promise. Disney has broken that promise, repeatedly, documented in public without response. Splash Mountain, one of the most iconic attractions in American theme park history, was permanently closed. May 31st, 2023 at Disneyland. January 23rd, 2023 at Magic Kingdom. Permanently. There is no going back. History does not come with an undo button. Disney called it a reimagining. The old bones stayed in the ground. What D'Amaro's team calls reimagining actually means the concrete flume, the underwater track, the water management system, all from the original 1989 Splash Mountain installation, remained in place. Disney built a high-tech, bought 21st century attraction on top of a system designed for a completely different ride over 3 decades ago. That's not a glitch. That's the architecture. Ride vehicles on log flumes generate buoyancy based on weight distribution. When new vehicles weigh or sit differently from what the system was engineered for, water dynamics shift. When the water management system cannot compensate, vehicles take on water. Modern safety sensors on this attraction are reportedly so sensitive that even minor ripples can trigger emergency stops. Guests stranded for hours as a result. You can't bolt the future onto the past and call it a new ride. What D'Amaro's division calls state-of-the-art Imagineering actually means dozens of advanced audio animatronic figures with dozens of articulation points each, you installed in a venue whose maintenance infrastructure was built for a completely different generation of technology. When those animatronics fail, and they do repeatedly, including a January 2026 incident at Magic Kingdom, where the Tiana figure lost its hairpiece and exposed its mechanical interior, the product guests' experience looks nothing like what was advertised. Let me say that number again. $36 billion in revenue, record operating income of $10 billion. Generated in the same fiscal year this attraction was failing, repeatedly. At both parks, record profits, broken ride, same fiscal year. Now watch what the receipts actually show. The Lightning Lane Multipass system is a paid add-on. Guests purchase it to skip standby lines on premium attractions. When Tiana's Bayou adventure breaks down for extended periods, guests who paid for Lightning Lane access do not receive refunds. They receive a multi-experience pass for other attractions they did not choose. What Disney calls guest compensation actually means your paid access to the broken product becomes a voucher redistributed across a park where every other popular ride now has spiked wait times Because of the cancellation cascade from Tiana going down. You paid twice. You got nothing you paid for. Lightning Lane return windows scheduled hours in advance are canceled entirely with no refund recourse when the attraction fails. Guests plan their entire day around that reservation. That plan disappears. No explanation, no refund. In plain terms, you paid $224 at the gate. And you paid again for Lightning Lane, woke before sunrise to lock in your boarding group, and when the ride broke, as it does repeatedly, you walked away with nothing refundable. That is the product. $224 gets you that product. Imagine you're a family of 4 from Phoenix. You save for 18 months. You paid $224 per person to enter the park. You set your alarm for 6:45 in the morning to grab a boarding group at 7. The ride begins to sink during operations. Your boarding group is canceled. You leave with a multi-experience pass for an attraction your kids did not want. There is no refund line. Picture this scenario. You are a solo Disney fan. You added a Lightning Lane multi-pass for $45 on top of your $224 ticket. You scheduled Tiana's Bayou adventure as your first return of the day. The ride enters emergency stop mode for 3 hours. You receive a multi-experience pass. The park fills with everyone who had the same plan. Your afternoon is gone. Imagine you were on the vehicle on January 7th. The water came in. You were evacuated. Disney gave you a clothing voucher for your soaked outfit. No statement followed. No timeline. No acknowledgement. Just a voucher. Picture this scenario. You are a cast member working Tiana's Bayou adventure on a day it fails. You manage the evacuation. You hand out multi-experience passes to guests who are furious. You absorb that fury. You answer questions you cannot answer because nobody gave you answers. You are the face of a broken product you did not build. And when the day is over, the company remains silent. And imagine you're tomorrow. Your division built this ride. Your division charged $224 on the day the vehicle sank. And on February 3rd, 2026, the Disney Board named you Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company, effective March 18th. The broken ride is not the headline. You are. That's the gap nobody's talking about. And Damaro has not addressed it publicly. Disney's Experiences segment accounted for between 55 and 70% of Disney's total profits for 3 consecutive years. That dominance is built on premium pricing, paid access layers, and one foundational promise, that what you are paying for is a maintained, world-class experience. The sinking log is exactly what happens when the premium price outlasts the premium product. What Damaro's record calls turbocharging growth actually means the most profitable division in Disney history was built on a 1989 water system that is now sinking its passengers. The engine is leaking. Disney has not acknowledged the pattern of failures publicly. No statement on animatronic reliability. No timeline for an infrastructure review. No acknowledgement that the 35-year-old flume is struggling under the weight of new demands. Not a word. $224. Not a word. Water rides experience shutdowns at every theme park. Some of Tiana's closures are weather-related or standard maintenance. Not every incident is catastrophic. One sinking could be bad luck. The pattern is a design question. Here's what to watch next. Damaro assumes the role of Chief Executive Officer on March 18, 2026. His first public statements will signal whether he treats Tiana's Bayou adventure as an open operational problem or a chapter he intends to move past without addressing it. Watch whether the attraction receives an announced refurbishment closure under his watch. A planned shutdown would mean Disney officially acknowledged the infrastructure needs to be fixed. Continued operation without acknowledgement means the strategy is to manage failure quietly and absorb the guest frustration without admitting it exists. Watch whether the Lightning Lane multipass compensation policy changes. Any formal adjustment is a direct admission that the current system leaves guests financially exposed when a premium attraction fails them. Watch domestic park attendance data in the next quarterly earnings cycle. If price-sensitive families are beginning to choose differently in response to the quality-to-price gap, that signal will show up in the numbers Damaro inherits. DeMauro doesn't just inherit this broken ride, he built it. On January 7th, 2026, a boat full of paying guests began to sink. No statement followed. The man who built what broke is now the man who has to fix it. He is doing it on the single most expensive ticket Disney has ever charged. Watch what DeMauro says first, and watch even more carefully what he refuses to say at all.